Harvey York's Rise to Power. Chapter 7. You are, Harvey? Howard Stone stared at Harvey doubtfully. He sneered for a while, parked his car, and walked straight into the hotel. Harvey felt so awkward. He did not expect Howard to ignore him when he talked to him. The two entered the private room one after the other. The classmates were all there at this time. Everyone looked over when the door opened. Isn't this the class monitor? The class monitor has also become a successful person too. So handsome. Someone heckled. Indeed. Howard was wearing a suit and a pair of leather shoes, with the Audi car key hanging on his waist. He looked so handsome at this moment. Soon, someone saw Harvey who was walking in behind Howard. Although the suit did not fit him well, it was still an exquisite, high-end, and a famous brand. A classmate saw this and smiled. Harvey, you seem to be doing well too. Come, these two main seats are reserved for you and the class monitor. Howard glanced at Harvey and sneered. He shook his head and said nothing. He did not expose the fact that Harvey was riding on an electric bike. Harvey responded but did not care about the seat. Instead, he looked around in a circle. There were not many pretty girls in the class back then. However, Wendy was still so pretty. She deserved to be a goddess. Wendy was dressed up in business attire. Her perfect body was flawlessly shown to the fullest, just like a ripe peach. It was so seductive and attractive. Even the cool Howard noticed Wendy at this moment. He was impressed. He came over, smiled, and said, "Oh, so it's you, our goddess. I haven't seen you for so long. Why didn't you find me or contact me? So, where do you work now?" Wendy smiled shyly and said softly, "I'm not doing so well like you. You even drive an Audi." Howard's eyes lit up when he heard it. He seemed to have a chance. The goddess seemed to favor the Audi, which he bought through installment loans. Just when he wanted to speak, the girls beside him were already grinning and said, "Class monitor, don't be fooled by Wendy. She's now the administrative manager of the largest investment company in New York Enterprise. It is said that she'll soon be promoted as the general manager and she'll be in charge." Wow! Everyone was in awe. They knew how powerful York Enterprise was. Many enterprises and self-employed individuals were funded by them. Although this company did not do physical business, its influence covered all walks of life. If Wendy became the general manager at such a young age, then she would have absolute power. Whoever succeeded in pursuing her would not only have beauty in his arms, but also a lot of resources. The benefits were unimaginable. Moreover, this woman was so beautiful that she was no less impressive than some A-listed female stars. The men in the private room were ashamed of themselves and could not help swallowing. Harvey did not have much interest in Wendy at first, but he became interested when he heard about York Enterprise. After all, it belonged to him now. In other words, Wendy was his subordinate. However, was she so capable? Could she be the general manager? Harvey smiled and walked over thinking of this. He sat next to Wendy and was ready to talk to her. Wendy smiled at first, but soon she frowned. After looking him up and down, she said, "Harvey, can you not sit here?" "Ah, is this someone's seat?" He stood up and said, "No, I just don't want you to sit next to me." Wendy said, "It's good to wear a suit, but I think you forgot about your shoes. Could it be that you borrowed the suit?" As soon as the statement came out, many people noticed that Harvey's suit did not fit him well, although it was of good texture. The most important thing was that he was wearing a pair of slippers with a few holes in it, and his left big toe even stuck out of it. His styling was a mess. Harvey was rather helpless. "I should have bought a pair of shoes. This is so inappropriate." "Ha, Winnie, you have eagle eyes." At first, I didn't want to talk about it since we were classmates before. However, someone is overconfident and wants to crave something that he is not worthy of. I think it's necessary to let everyone know his true colors. Howard walked out from the rear and smiled at Wendy fawningly. "Our classmate Harvey just came here on an electric bike. I initially thought that he was just riding the electric bike temporarily because it might be inconvenient for him to park his car. After all, he was wearing a high-end suit. Unexpectedly, he forgot about his shoes. It was so embarrassing." Howard acted as if he saw through the lie. "Harvey, could it be that you have bought this suit with discounts from somewhere else? And looking at you like this, I bet you haven't even torn off the label. Let's go and return the suit after the reunion party. Okay, I think it's not that bad. However, it seems that he came here on an electric bike. I saw his keys." Also, it's clear that he hasn't changed the slippers that he wore for years. Yeah, those classmates started gossiping about it in an instant. There were a few who wanted to show off in front of the goddess. Wendy, at this moment, they were criticizing Harvey harshly. Just when Harvey wanted to explain, his former deskmate, Shirley, stood up and said loudly, "You people are a little over the top. We are all classmates. Even if his style is a bit weird, do you have to say that?" Shirley had a comely and elegant figure. She looked like someone from a good and prestigious family. Harvey often pestered to copy her homework when they were in college. Hence, the relationship between them was still good. Harvey never thought that Shirley would come forward to help him speak out. Howard suddenly took a step forward and grabbed Harvey's collar when he saw another beauty from their class help this trash to speak out. He quickly took out a tag and could not help saying, "Shirley, do you still want to help him? Do you see it?" He did not even take the tags off. One piece is worth tens of thousands. Do you think that he can afford such clothes with his poor look? And if I remember correctly, Harvey had already become the live-in son-in-law of the Zimmer family 3 years ago, right? A live-in son-in-law, and he's still wearing Armani's haute couture suit. Ha ha. Maybe this guy's clothes were simply stolen from a man from the Zimmer family. Hence, it did not fit him so well. Harvey, you have to be realistic. The whole Numi knows that you were the live-in son-in-law of the Zimmer family. You don't have to pretend in front of us. We are all classmates. Why are you pretending? Harvey raised his hand, pushed Howard's hand away, and stared at him coldly. Howard saw Harvey stare and sneered. Do you want to hit me after I have revealed your true colors? Or do you want to tell me that the clothes are yours? If you can prove it, I will kneel for you. Harvey was about to speak when suddenly his cell phone rang. He quickly took out an old model phone. Everyone was already laughing before he could even answer the phone. It was so funny. Was this not the kind of old model phone which consisted of a 3-year calling credit for $99? Harvey was using this kind of phone. How could he still dare to wear Armani to show off? Had he lost his mind? Or had he become stupid after being the live-in son-in-law? Harvey did not care about other people's reactions at this moment. Instead, he quickly answered the phone. Soon, he heard the yell of his mother-in-law, Lillian, from the other end. Harvey, where did you go? Why haven't you washed the toilet? SHT. He forgot about this. Harvey felt helpless. He should not have come to this reunion party. You are indeed the live-in son-in-law. You are even being scolded for attending a reunion party through a phone call. It seems like his mother-in-law is scolding him and asks him to go back to wash the toilet. Asking a man to do this, I would rather smash my head to death than to wash a toilet. Although I can't make any money, I won't be a live-in son-in-law. Even if you hit me to death, I won't do it. Poverty stifles a man's ambition. I never thought you were such a short-sighted person. Everyone there was talking about it. Even Shirley slightly sighed at this moment. She felt bad to see Harvey in such a situation. Her neighborhood happened to be recruiting security guards recently. It seems that she had to help Harvey to ask about the job, lest he had nothing to do and could not even afford to buy a pair of shoes. All right, just get out as soon as possible. Trash like you are not welcome here. Howard glanced at him with disgust. He then walked up to Wendy and smiled. My goddess, don't let your mood be ruined because of some ungrateful people. This restaurant was opened by my cousin's good friend. Speaking of my cousin, you should know him. He is currently working at your company. His name is Don Xander. His good friend should do him a favor, which is to give him face. Maybe I can ask the hotel to bring their best wine here. He had already pressed the service bell before Wendy could respond. When the waiter came, he looked dissatisfied and said, What kind of service is this? Why are you so slow? Quickly go and bring 2 bottles of the hotel's best wine here. The waiter was stunned for a moment. But then the waiter said, Sir, the best wine in our hotel is a bit expensive. I'm afraid. Smack! Howard threw the Audi car key from his waist to the table. Do we seem poor and unable to afford the order? Don Xander is my cousin. Do you know who he is? He's your boss's buddy. Why don't you hurry up and bring the wine here? Howard calmly glanced at Wendy's face and saw the goddess being surprised, but he pretended to be indifferent. He had done such a big favor tonight. He was sure that the goddess would have a good impression of him. Harvey did not expect that Howard was Don's cousin. The two of them had the same personality, which made him find it interesting. He was very interested to see what Howard was going to do. Soon, the waiter brought up 2 bottles of wine. He then said kindly, Sir, the wine is here, but just shut up and open it. Howard laughed and waved nonchalantly. If you don't get drunk tonight, don't go home. Come, it's my toast to you all. He picked up his wine glass and looked at Harvey, who had nothing left. He frowned. Harvey, although we are all classmates, can't you see it? You are not welcome here. Are you planning to drink with us?